One of the phrases I've always liked to use when talking about an organisation or applying for grants is that we complement rather than duplicate existing services in the area. Not to be confused with compliment or giving someone a compliment, which is an expression of affection or admiration. Compliment means something that fills up, completes, or makes better or perfect. I love this definition that it's one of two mutually completing parts. Of course, it's only right to use this phrase if it's true and if you believe in the premise behind it. But it's not just an empty phrase. I believe this is what all third sector organisations, from community and voluntary groups to larger charities, should aim to do. Much like doing market research, finding a gap in your local community, asking what people need that doesn't already exist, is a good place to start when you're thinking about starting up a group or organisation to create social impact. Even better than that is to start something that adds to what already exists, that makes it better, that joins the allies in an existing fight and makes the side stronger. I don't believe in competition, at least not within the third sector. In a space where everyone is genuinely working to add value, to make an impact, and more often than not to deliver services that there's a real need for in the community, I believe that the more people who are finding their purpose in making a positive difference, in using their experience and so often their own pain and struggles to give back and help others, the better. Instead of seeing those people, groups or organisations that do a similar thing to you, deliver a similar service or even reaching the same people that you want to reach as competition, see if you can find a way to work with them. One of the things I've learned about working in partnership in this sector is that some of the most enjoyable and successful projects I've worked on have been in partnership with people or organisations that do almost exactly the same type of work that I do, in the same area with the same people. On paper we'd be competitors, but in practice it feels more like we're stronger, pushing each other to level up, providing an even better, more rounded service to our participants. In other words, we're stronger together. A community partnership could be anywhere between 2 and a large number of organisations that have agreed to work together. This might start as an informal agreement, most often the arrangement to refer or signpost enquiries, clients, customers, participants or service users to each other. This can simply be about knowing who else is offering which services in your area and agreeing to refer on those people who would benefit more from or be able to access additional follow-on services from another organisation. It could also be a more formal agreement written up as a contract. This is recommended if any money is changing hands. For example, if you're paying to refer service users or the partner organisation is commissioned to accept those referrals. In these cases, the arrangement needs to be in writing. A number of organisations working together, sometimes referred to as joined-up working or a multi-agency approach, is often called a consortium. The consortium might even have a name, set of objectives, written constitution and bank account of its own. This can be useful if that group of organisations are applying for commissioned or public services or are jointly leasing premises together. A community partnership could also be more of a cross-sector partnership, bringing together members of the private, public and third sectors to work together on a mutually important issue. This type of partnership can be very effective when it comes to larger capital projects like renovations and developments, or in taking over a service that had previously been delivered solely by the public sector. NHS community healthcare services are an example of this. Here are a few tips for finding and working with the right partners in an effective way. Take advantage of networking events in your area. This is where you'll really get to know what's going on locally, who's who and what support they might need from partners. Start conversations with the aim of supporting each other. A successful partnership has to be beneficial to both parties. Go in with an open mind, especially if talking to a much larger organisation. It can be tempting to think, what can they do for us? But don't forget that large organisations often need smaller grassroots groups to work with them in order to actually get to those hardest to reach people in the community. Be professional. If a partnership works and grows, then at some point it may result in a more formal written arrangement such as a contract. Even before you get to that stage, if you treat it as a professional partnership from the beginning, it's more likely to be successful for all. Even before any contracts are needed, make sure everything is agreed by email rather than verbally. Check that you've all understood what the arrangements are and whose responsibility it is to monitor those arrangements. It could save some difficult conversations later down the line. In my experience, conversations about partnership bids can happen almost immediately. I've had people ask me the first time we met if I could apply for some funding so that we could work together. On the whole, a partnership bid is very often a stronger proposal than an application from a single organisation. There are two ways this can work. If you're separate organisations, then the best, usually the only way forward, is for one organisation to lead on the bid and the other one to be the named partner. Most grant applications will require a lead applicant. It's that organisation that will provide their accounts, policies, bank details, etc., and it's that organisation that will be given the grant plus the responsibility to manage it. One or more other organisations can be named in the bid as partners. They can have specific roles and responsibilities in the project, and they can be paid for their time as set out in the budget. If you're a consortium and you have both a joint constitution and a bank account, you can apply as such, meaning that the consortium members are jointly and equally responsible for delivering on the project and managing the grant. Both of these options can create a strong case for support when applying for grants. Either way, think about who your partner organisations could be early on, and taking the steps to develop those relationships can be hugely beneficial, both for your own and other organisations, plus the beneficiaries and communities you support. More than any other, the voluntary and community sector is stronger and more powerful when it works together. Guidance and inspiration for turning your ideas into impact and making a difference in your community. For more information, go to rachelireland.co.uk.